My name is Hannah Whitmore, and once upon a time, I thought love was unconditional. I met Thomas in the middle of a grey English spring, the kind where the skies stay silent and the air smells like fresh rain and second chances. I was 25 then, working in a small bookshop tucked between a florist and a bakery in Brighton. He walked in, wearing a navy pea coat and a smile that made my stomach flip. He said he loved my laugh. My laugh. Not my figure, not my face. Just that ordinary, uncontrollable laugh I'd always been embarrassed of. He made me feel seen in a way I hadn't before. We were married a year later. People called us mismatched. I heard the whispers. He was tall, chiseled, charming, a walking magazine cover. I was soft around the edges, with a crooked front tooth and wild, untamable curls. But he never seemed to mind, at least not at first. They don't tell you when love begins to fade. There's no siren, no warning light. It starts subtly, like the way he stopped looking up when I entered a room. Or how his hand, once so quick to find mine, now stayed in his pocket. I chalked it up to stress, routine, life. I tried harder, cooked his favourite meals, wore lipstick, laughed at his tired jokes, lost weight. He didn't notice. And then one Sunday morning, as I was slicing oranges for our breakfast, he said it, plain as tea. Penny more lit up. No apology, just silence and citrus on my hands. I remember blinking, smiling even, because my brain couldn't catch up with my ears. You're not serious, I said. He looked at me, not cruelly, not kindly, just like I was furniture. I tried, he shrugged. But it's just not there. You've let yourself go, and I need more. I asked if he was seeing someone else. He didn't answer. 3 days later, he was gone. I stayed in bed for a week. Maybe more. The only reason I got up at all was because Mum showed up with fresh sheets and a mop. She didn't say much, just sat beside me and brushed my hair like I was 5 again. How'd the bastard go? She said quietly. Don't carry his sickness like it's yours. But I did. I carried it in the curve of my back, in the way I flinched when someone called me beautiful. I began to see what he saw, flaws, everywhere. A belly that wasn't flat. Arms too wide. A face too ordinary. I covered all the mirrors. One night, I found myself in front of one anyway. I stared hard, stripped down, looked at myself like he might have. I cried until my skin burned. That was the moment I broke. But funny thing about breaking, it makes room for rebuilding. I started writing again. Letters, mostly to myself. Dear Hannah, I'd write, you are more than your reflection. You are more than the man who couldn't love you. It felt silly at first, but slowly, the words became bricks. I rebuilt myself one page at a time. I began walking every morning, not to lose weight, just to feel the wind on my face. I deleted old photos, threw out the dress I wore on our honeymoon, took out the red lipstick again, not for anyone, just because it made me feel bold. I looked people in the eye. I laughed, not because someone liked it, but because something was actually funny. And I forgave myself. For staying too long, for believing too hard, for forgetting my worth. 6 months passed. I joined a writing group at the local library. On my first day, I shared a piece titled The Girl in the Mirror. It was raw, ugly, honest. When I finished reading, the room was quiet. Then someone clapped, then another, and another. Afterward, an older woman came up to me. Her name was June. She had silver hair and eyes that had seen everything a writer book, she said. There are too many women who think they're only as good as their waistline. Tell them they're wrong. So I did it. Took me a year to write The Mirror Never Lied. Another 6 months to find a publisher. The day the first copy arrived, I cried like I had the day he left. Except this time, it was because I felt whole. People began writing to Strangers, mostly. Women from all over. Some were young, some weren't. All had been broken, discarded, unloved. My story was their mirror, they said. And in it, they finally saw themselves again. One letter stood out. It read, "You saved me. I was about to give up. And then I read your story. You reminded me that I matter. That I'm enough. Thank you, Hannah." I ran into Thomas one rainy afternoon years later outside a coffee shop in London. He looked older, tired. He didn't recognize me at first. When he did, he stared. "You look different," he said. "I am." I smiled. He asked what I did now and told him I was a writer, that my book had just been translated into 7 languages. "That's... wow," he said, blinking. We stood there a moment, strangers who once shared a bed. "I'm sorry," he added, and maybe he meant it. Maybe he didn't. It didn't matter, because I no longer needed his belief to feel valuable. Beauty fades, bodies change, hair greys, skin sags. But dignity? Self-respect?